Meanwhile, the Public Service Commission has recently confirmed it is conducting a probe into more than 2,000 senior government officials not in possession of the relevant qualifications. The Commission's chairperson, Professor Somadoda Fikeni, made the revelation after the DA asked for an investigation. For more on this, we're joined by Public Service Commission Commissioner, Professor Mandla Makhanya. Professor, thank you for being with us. And going into this investigation, did you think there would be so many government officials without the qualifications?
Well, unfortunately, we didn't think that there would be so many, but I think we need to accept that we have a process, of registering the qualifications of our senior management, personnel in our system. So what we have actually embarked on with the Department of Public Service and Administration is to ensure that that particular process is taken care of across the board. You will recall that the same process was undertaken in 2007, but I think what now is actually even more imperative is because we have these amended regulations of 2016, which as a matter of principle require that all senior management members in that specific category must be highly qualified. And we specify what is expected, for instance, of levels 13 and 14, what is expected of levels 15 and 16, and so on and so forth. And we also have an arrangement, by the way, in place that says that such members who are already in our system will be afforded an opportunity of training wherever necessary. And of course, bursaries as well, in order for them to pursue their higher education qualifications.
All right, so we are told these are senior officials. You say you mentioned 13 to 16, I think the levels. What does that mean? Are they all managers? How high up are they?
They are fairly high up, because when we're talking about levels 13 and 14, we are already entering the category of senior management. That is why at that level, we are insisting that those members should at least have NQF level qualifications, which will mean then a degree or an advanced diploma. But immediately when you get to levels 15 and 16, those are senior ones, because we are then entering the categories, of those who are holding senior managerial positions in the public service. So in such cases, we expect them to have at least NQF level 8, and above, and depending, of course, at the level at which they have been appointed. But it is at that level where we've discovered that there are these challenges. So we've not actually then tried to hide this. We have embarked on the process so that we can account to Parliament now that the question has been raised.
How easy was it to find them? You said that some are registering their officials. Did some people fall through the cracks? Could there even be more?
We've discovered that some people have actually fallen through the cracks, because as the process had begun to get underway, we've discovered that as now there's an insistence that every person's qualifications must be entered in the personnel and salaries management system, commonly known as PERSA. That process now, as it is getting underway, we are clearing the air in that particular environment. But of course, it doesn't mean that it's going to be, work done and dusted. We are going to be sitting in a situation where some will not necessarily pass the test. And we need to understand what has happened in such an instance. So we do acknowledge, for instance, that some of these were in the system, prior to these regulations got in place. So, but there must be an explanation for that.
Yeah.
But in instances where we find that the fault lies with the departments themselves, we will obviously take issue, with those.
Yeah, that is the question. How did they get the promotions with the qualifications? So I understand this information has been given to the relevant minister. I mean, what should happen now to those people in those roles?
What is happening currently is that we are gathering the particular data. The minister who's acting in the Department of Public Service and Administration has already embarked on the process with his own department, because what we are keen on knowing is how many of those were already in the system prior to these regulations getting underway, that is now post-2016, with amended regulations. Because in such an instance, we need then to separate those that might have been in the system prior to 2007, for instance, when we conducted that process initially. So which will then mean that we are talking about people who have been there prior to 2001, for instance. But we now want that particular comprehensive picture so that we don't take this matter in a piecemeal kind of fashion.
All right, and we hope that we will get more information down the line. Thank you, Public Service Commissioner Professor Mandla Makhanya.